The Utah Jazz were already a team that I had been looking at this season and was surprised at just how well they've played and how good they've looked. But after last night's game against the Knicks, where they rallied back from a once 15-point deficit and won their 9th straight game due to their explosive start to the second half of play, I think it's time to start paying attention to this Jazz team and taking them a bit more serious than I've seen people taking them. What's up, guys? SCJ here, and if you like today's video, then make sure to give it a like as it helps out a lot. And if you're new to the channel and or enjoy the NBA, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. So as mentioned, last night the Jazz rallied back and beat the New York Knicks by a score of 108-94 after coming back from a 15-point deficit and outscoring New York 62-35 in the second half. While Donovan Mitchell, who's their best player in many people's eyes, didn't have too great of a game, only putting up 9 points on 20% shooting, along with an actual very good 8 rebounds as well as 3 assists, it of course didn't hurt them and seemed to matter to them as they won by 14 points after trailing by 15 at one point, and they trailed by 13 going into the second half. One of the things the Jazz have done very often this season is get very good all-around scoring, and that's exactly what they got once again last night, as Royce O'Neal put up 20 points, Mike Conley dropped 19, Gobert scored 18, and if you want to include Bogdanovic and Clarkson had 13 points off the bench, and Bogdanovic scored 11 points despite only shooting 20%. If you paid attention to the Jazz this season, seeing stat lines and box scores like that really shouldn't be surprising, as they currently have 6 players averaging double-digit point totals on the season. And if you want to go one step further and look at their advanced stats, they actually have a surprising 10 players averaging double-digit point totals for the season per 36 minutes. The team also has Udoka Azubuike averaging 9.6 points per game and Royce O'Neal averaging 8.9 points per game per 36 minutes, so I won't be surprised if they have a whopping 12 players averaging double-digit point totals per game per 36 minutes once the season finishes up. However, when it comes to what has been the key to the Jazz's success so far this season, there's 2 areas where they're really thriving this season, and it makes sense as to why they're playing so well when you look at where they're striving. Those 2 areas are 3-pointers and defense. The Jazz currently lead the league in total 3-pointers made and are sitting in second place for total 3-pointers attempted as well as 3-point percentage. When you're attempting the second most threes of any team in the league, and you're also shooting it better than 28 of the other 29 teams in the league, it's safe to say you're in a very good place and in a very good spot as well right now, especially with how much teams and players rely on the 3-ball in today's NBA with how the game is currently being played. Then in terms of their defense, as of yesterday, they led the league in terms of lowest defensive rating, but they now sit in 3rd place, which is of course still not a bad thing. The Jazz also sit at 6th place in the league for blocks per game and are only 0.8 less blocks per game than the team that currently leads the league in blocks, the 76ers. The Jazz have gotten great rim protection from both Gobert and Derek Favors this season, as Rudy Gobert currently blocks nearly 3 shots a game as he comes in at 2.8 per game, and Favors blocks exactly 1 shot per game. In terms of rebounding numbers, the Jazz are nearly a top 5 team in every statistical category, as they're currently 1 offensive rebound shy of being tied for 5th place in that area. In today's game, where 3-and-D players such as Klay Thompson and Kawhi Leonard are so important to their teams and are vital to winning basketball games, it's not hard to see why a team that excels in those 2 specific areas currently has the 2nd best record in the entire National Basketball Association. Not only do the Jazz currently have the 2nd best record in the entire league behind the defending champion LA Lakers, they also have the 3rd highest RPI, or relative percent index, in the entire NBA. What is relative percent index, for those of you not aware? Well, that's the stat that rates you based on 25% of the team's winning percentage, 50% of opponents' average winning percentage, and 25% of the opponent's average winning percentage. This stat really shows how well a team has played and just how good of competition that a team has played up to any specific point as well. Safe to say that's a very nice stat to be top 3 in the entire league in. Another reason they've been so successful thus far this season has been the great coaching of Quinn Snyder for yet another season. Snyder has run a very San Antonio Spurs-like system where they play very fundamental basketball on both sides of the ball, and also very similar to the Spurs, just like we saw last night with Mitchell's poor performance. When one of the team's 3 best players has a poor performance, it doesn't seem to affect them, as the other talented players on the roster seem to pick up the slack. As someone who was an assistant under Coach Bud, as well as the legendary Mike Krzyzewski, the way that Snyder has this team operating as a unit is not surprising, and with how well he's coached and managed the bench, the team and their depth might also be able to give other teams trouble come playoff time. Despite scoring not being one of the team's strong points, as they're currently 12th in the league in that category, the Jazz are currently 5th in terms of bench points per game, and Jordan Clarkson sits in 2nd in the league in terms of leading scorers off the bench, behind the 2017 Sixth Man of the Year winner, Eric Gordon. That's very good company to be right behind, and many people currently have Clarkson as the favorite to win the 2021 Sixth Man of the Year trophy and become the first Utah Jazz player in history to bring home that award. So if you're still not taking this Jazz team seriously after all the numbers and statistics that I threw at you in this video, then I don't know what it's going to take for you to start doing so. This team has a 13-4 record, which, like mentioned before, is the second best record in the league and only one win less than the LA Lakers. It's not like they haven't played good competition either, as their relative percent index is the third best in the entire NBA. I'm not saying that this team will make it to the finals, beat the Lakers, or any of that. And I can honestly see them being very similar to last year's Nuggets team, who the Jazz actually lost to in the playoffs, where they look very good, then they can't seem to put up a good fight in the conference finals. But if the Jazz keep playing like this, and hell, maybe even improve as the season goes on, maybe after the short off season the Lakers and 36-year-old LeBron James got, they'll have a shot to make a series against the defending champs very entertaining, and maybe even take them to 7 games. So yeah, guys, let me know down below in the comments how you feel about this Jazz team, or what you guys think about this year's Jazz team, or just anything that we talked about in today's video. If you liked the video though, then make sure to give it a like, as it helps out a lot. And if you're new to the channel and or enjoy the NBA, then of course make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. That way you stay up to date with my newest content and when my uploads go live. Anyway though, guys, I'm SCJ and I am out. Peace.